Good morning. Today we'll be studying the second chapter of Hilchot Ta'aniyot, and this chapter will deal with the different types of calamities for which a community or a tzibur may do a ta'anit for. As we'll see, there are 10 situations, calamities in which a tzibur will make ta'anit. הלכות תעניות פרק ב' הלכה א' אלו הן השרות של הציבור שמתענין ומתריעים עליהן. The following are the calamities, or now we'll call it tzarot, or bad, difficult situations, for which a community will do ta'anit and will blow the trumpets of the shofar and sound the teruah. And in the Beit HaMikdash they would do the shofar as well, as we learned in the previous chapter. Number one, the oppression of Israel by their enemies, and because of war, because of plague or pestilence, or because of wild animals that come and attack people unexpectedly or unnaturally, and because of locusts, because of hasil are crickets that would destroy the produce. Shiddafon is Saadia Gaon explains in Sefer Devarim Perek Kaf Het that Shiddafon is when produce gets damaged because of extreme heat. Yerakon Saadia Gaon explains as well that is when the produce turns yellow and begins to spoil. Valham Mapolit, because of a collapsing buildings. Valaholayim, because of plagues or disease. Valham Mezonot, because of some type of economic crisis. Ve'al Hamatar, and because of rainfall. As we'll see, the rainfall is either for good, too much rainfall, or not enough rainfall. הלכה ב' כל עיר שיש בה צרה מכל אלו, אותה העיר מתענה ומתרעת עד שתעבור הצרה. וכל סביבותיה מתענות ולא מתריעות, אבל מבקשות עליהם רחמים. Any city in which one of the situations mentioned above is occurring there, that city must do ta'anit and sound the teruah until the calamity passes. And all these surrounding areas, or surrounding cities or villages, fast and do ta'anit, but do not sound the teruah. But they pray and ask for mercy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in every place, unless it was one of the exceptions mentioned, prayers and asking for mercy is not done, and neither is sounding the teruah, as we said in Perek Aleph Halacha Vav. But again, we mentioned the exceptions in the in Perek Aleph as well. Chutz mitzarat hamezonot, aside from an economic crisis, shetzoakin aleha afilu b'Shabbat, that we beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu and pray and ask for mercy even on Shabbat. Aval en matri'in aleha b'hasotzerot b'Shabbat, but we do not sound the teruah on Shabbat even for an economic crisis. Now, from now until the end of the chapter, Harambam will basically describe exactly what we meant in terms of the situations that he quickly mentioned in Halakha Aleph. What do we mean when we say the oppression of Israel by their enemies? For example, if there were goyim that came to wage war with the Jewish people, or to take attacks from the Jewish people, or to annex their land, even to enact a decree that would interfere with any mitzvah, even a, so to speak, light mitzvah, an easy mitzvah. That community must do ta'anit and sound the teruah until they are given mercy. וכל הערים שסביבותיהן מתענים, אבל אין מתריעים, אלא אם כן תקעו להתקבץ לעזרתם. and the surrounding cities make ta'anit but do not sound the tirwa unless they sounded the tirwa in order to gather the people in order to help the city that is in danger because of the goyim, or because of the tax, or because of the annexing the land, or because of the decree. Halakha dalid. Ala kharev ketzad. What do we mean when we say حرب or war? أفيه حرب شل shalom, even if it is a city that isn't necessarily at war. كيغون شعرخم ملحمة goyim, and goyim, for example, if there were goyim that waged war against another group of goyim, and this Jewish city is not necessarily involved in the war. ve'avru bimkom Yisrael, however, one of the armies passed through a place in which Jews live. אף על פי שאין ביניהן ובין ישראל milhama harezot tzara, even though that neither of the parties are involved in war with the Jewish people, this is still considered a tzara. And we do ta'anit, we sound the shofar, we sound the tirwa, rather. As it says in the pasuk in Vayikra Perek Vav, it says that there shall not be, I believe this is in the Berachot, that there will not be a Harev, a war in your land, implying that even the sight of war is a tzara, even though you are not necessarily involved in the war, as the pasuk implies. And it seems that the reason for this is that the passage of soldiers through any city area or any city was dangerous for the inhabitants of that city, and typically soldiers of both the winning side and the losing side would typically pillage the cities in which they would pass through, and they would loot the cities as well. So any war in an area is never a good sign, and that is why even though a city that isn't necessarily at war still has to do ta'anit. Halakha hai. Ezehu dever. What exactly is this pestilence or plague that we mentioned? Ir sheyesh bah 500 ragli. If there is a city that has 500 inhabitants, ויצאו ממנה 3 מתים ב3 ימים זה אחר זה, and there happened to be 3 people that died on 3 days consecutively. יצאו ביום אחד או ב4 ימים, and זה דבר. If all 3, for example, die on 1 day, or the groups of 3 die within 4 days, and זה דבר. This is not considered dever. So again, if there's a city with a minimum of 500 inhabitants, and 3 people died on 3 consecutive days. Hayabah elef, if there were 1,000 inhabitants in the city, if there were 1,000 inhabitants in the city, and 6 people died for 3 days consecutively, it was considered dever. יצאו ביום אחד או ב4 ימים, and זה dever. If the 6 inhabitants died either all in 1 day, or the groups of 6 died within 4, the 3 groups of 6 died within 4 days, this is not considered dever. And the same proportion applies for any other number of inhabitants in whatever city. And the only people that are considered inhabitants for our purposes are able-bodied men, not including women, minors, or old men that are retired from work. And the reason for this is because the measure of the plague and its not significance, rather it's the power of the plague is measured based on able-bodied and strong men, and how much the plague affects them rather than women, children, or men retired from work. הלכה ו' היה דבר בארץ ישראל מתענין שאר גלויות ישראל עליהן. If there was dever in Israel, the cities and Jews living outside of Israel do ta'anit on behalf for the cities of it, for the people living in Israel. היה דבר במדינה ושיירות הולכות ובאות ממנה למדינה אחרת שתהן מתענות אף על פי שהן רחוקות זו מזו. If there was dever in one city and caravans came and went from that city to another city, both cities must do ta'anit, even though these two cities may be far from each other. And the reason for this is because of the plague, or the dever may pass between the two cities with these caravans, and the caravans can be carriers of this disease and infect other people potentially. הלכה ז' אין מתענין על חיה רעה אלא בזמן שהיא משולחת. We only fast for the situation of חיה רעה at a time that an unnatural or an atypical time for wild animals come out and attack. So for example, Harambam will give us an example right now. כיצד? נראתה בעיר ביום, הרי זו משולחת. If there were wild animals seen inside the city during the day, which is not the typical time for predatory animals to come out, הרי זו משולחת. This is considered משולחת and would be considered a חיה רעה. So again, a חיה רעה is only at a time that is unnatural for these predatory animals to come out and attack. נראתה בשדה ביום, if there are wild animals seen in a field during the day, אם ראתה שני בני אדם ולא ברחה מפניהם, הרי זו משולחת. If the wild animals saw two people and did not run away because of these two people, it is considered משולחת. ואם הייתה שדה סמוכה לאגם, if it was a city that was next to an uncleared area of land, which is typically where some predatory animals where some predatory animals live. It's a type of deserted area, again, where predatory animals live. וראתה שני בני אדם ורדפה אחריהן, הרי זו משולחת. And if in this agam it saw two people and chased after them, it is considered משולחת. לא רדפה אחריהן, אינה משולחת. If, however, it did not chase the two people, it is not considered משולחת. אם הייתה באגם אפילו רדפה אחריהם, אינה משולחת, אלא אם כן טרפה שניהם ואכלה אחד מהם. However, if the wild animal was in the agam and saw two people in the agam and chased after them, it is not considered משולחת unless it attacked the two of them and ate one of the people. אבל אם אכלה שניהם באגם, אינה משולחת מפני שזה הוא מקומה, ומפני הרעבון טרפה, לא מפני שהיא משולחת. However, if it ate both of the individuals in the agam, it is not considered משולחת because the agam is this animal's natural habitat, and it attacked because it was hungry, not because it is משולחת. Or again, משולחת is its atypical or unnatural place to come out, or time to come out either. Okay, הלכה ח' בתים הבנויים במדברות ובארצות הנשמות. Houses that are built in the wilderness or in deserted places. הואיל והם מקום גידודי חיה. Those areas are where packs of wild animals dwell. אם עלתה לגג ונטלה תינוק מעריסה, הרי זה משולחת. If in one of these areas the animal snatched an infant from its cradle from the roof of the house, this is considered משולחת. ואם לא הגיעה למידה זו, אינה משולחת. שאלו בני אדם הם שסיכנו בעצמם ובאו למקום החיות. However, if it did not reach this degree of snatching an infant from its cradle, it is not considered mishulahat, because those individuals who live in the wilderness or those deserted places put their own lives in jeopardy, as those areas are the natural habitat of wild animals. Halakha tet. שאר מיני רמס הארץ ורמס העוף ששולחו והזיקו, כגון שילוח, נחשים ועקרבים, ואין צריך לומר צרעין ויתושין, והדומה להן, אין מתענין עליהם ולא מתריעין, אבל זועקים בלא תרועה. Other attacks of insects or a type of worms that may cause human death that that came out and attacked humans. For example, if there was an attack of snakes or scorpions, or obviously if there was an attack of hornets or mosquitoes or anything of the sort, ta'anit is not done, and the tiru'ah is not sounded either. However, prayer is done and asking for mercy for HaKadosh Baruch Hu is done, however, without sounding the tiru'ah. In regards to grasshoppers and crickets. אפילו לא נראתה מהן אלא כנף אחד בכל ארץ ישראל, מתענין ומתריעין עליהן. Even if a single wing was found in all of Eretz Israel, ta'anit is done and the tiru'ah is sounded. ועל הגוvaי, בכל שהוא. In regards to govai, which is a type of locust that does not travel in packs. Sorry, it's a type of locust that does not travel in packs and causes a lot of damage and much more damage to the crops than grasshoppers do. Even if one was found in Eretz Israel, also ta'anit is done and tiru'ah is done as well. אבל לחגב, אין מתענין עליו ולא מתריעין אלא זועקין בלבד. However, the hagav, which is also a different type of grasshopper that also travels not in packs. Sorry, they do travel in packs, rather. In contrast to the govai, the hagav travels in packs. And when they are in packs, they damage the crops significantly. But if they are if they are alone and not in a pack, they do not damage the crops. And just a interesting fact, the hagav, as we'll see in Hilchot Ma'achalot Asurot, are permitted to be eaten. Halacha Yod Aleph. Al HaShidafon ve'al HaYerakon, as we mentioned at the opening of the chapter, Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon explains that Shidafon is when the produce gets damaged because of extreme heat, and Yerakon is when the produce turns yellow and spoils. Mishayathil Batewa, when is Ta'anit done because of this? Ta'anit is done when there are signs of this beginning to happen in the produce. ואפילו לא יתחיל אלא במקום קטן, כמלוא תנור גוזרים עליו תענית ומתרעין. Even if it is just beginning and the area affected is a very small area, no larger than the mouth of an oven, ta'anit is proclaimed and imposed, and the teru'ah is sounded as well. When we mentioned collapsing buildings, what exactly did we mean? If there is an increasing number of sound walls that are not near a river that happen to collapse, it is considered a tzara, and ta'anit is done, and the teru'ah is sounded. And the reason Harambam mentions that the buildings are not next to a nahar, next to a river, is because sometimes buildings that are near rivers, the river, because of the current of the river, it dissipates the ground that is under the building and may cause the building to collapse. And it's much more probable for a building to collapse when it is at this near a nahar on the banks of a river, in contrast to a building that is nowhere near a nahar. וכן על הרעש ועל הרוחות שהם מפילים את הבניין והורגים, מתענין ומתריעין עליהן. So too an earthquake or strong winds that cause buildings to fall and cause people to die. Ta'anit is done and tiru'ah is sounded as well. Halakha Yud Gimel. Ala holayim kitzad. What do we mean when we said holayim? And holayim are different types of diseases or plague that cause the loss of human life. If, for example, a disease fell upon many people in a city, kigon askara or harhur hayotzebahen, for example, diphtheria or a type of high fever or anything of this sort, vayu metim be'oto aholi, harezo tzarat tzibur, and this disease caused people to die because of, again, and the disease caused people to die. This is considered a tzarat tzibur, begozrin, a communal type of affliction. Begozrin la ta'anit umatri'in, and ta'anit is done and the tiru'ah sounded. Vechen hikuch lach harehu kishhin poreach, ve'im pashat berov hatzibur mit'anin umatri'in alav, aval hikuch yavesh tzo'akin alav bilvad. In regards to a skin irritation that causes boils, and there is a type of liquid that comes out of these boils, like pus or something, that is accompanied with a high fever. If this happens to spread within the inhabitants of a city, teru'ah is sounded and ta'anit is done. However, if there is a skin irritation that liquid does not come out, only prayer is done, and ta'anit and teru'ah are not. Halakha Yud Daled. Al ha-mizonot kitzad. What did we mean when we said mizonot, or an economic crisis? הרי שהוזלו דברים שלסחורה שרוב חיי אנשי אותה העיר מהן. If there was a significant decline in price in merchandise in which the people of a certain city make a living from that merchandise. כגון כלי פשטן בבבל, for example, linens in Bavel, ויין ושמן בארץ ישראל, or wine and oil in Eretz Yisrael, ונתמעט המשא והמתן עד שיצטרך התגר למכור בשווה 10 ב6 ואחר כך ימצא לוקח, הרי זאת תענית ציבור ומתריעין עליה וזועקין עליה בשבת. If the sales decline significantly, so much so that a seller would have to sell his goods that are worth $10, for example, for $6, so we're talking about a 40% decline, and only after that significant decline in price, he may find someone to buy from him. This is considered a tzarat tzibur, and ta'anit is done, and we pray and cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help improve the situation even on Shabbat. Halakha Tedvav, al hamatar ketzad. What do we mean when we say we fast and do ta'anit because of rainfall? Hare sherabu alehem geshamim ashi yaseru lahen. Hare elu mitpalelin alehen. שאין לך צרה גדולה מזו שהבתים נופלים ונמצא בתיהם קבריהם. If there is an excess amount of rainfall, so much so that it causes distress for the people in a certain city or a certain place, they pray and beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu to cease the rainfall, because almost nothing is worse than too much rainfall, because it causes the houses to collapse, and the houses become the people's grave, because the houses collapse and the people would most likely be within the city and would die when the house collapses. ובארץ ישראל אין מתפללים על רוב הגשמים מפני שהיא ארץ הרים ובתיהן בנויות באבנים ורוב הגשמים טובה להן ואין מתעניין להעביר הטובה. And in Eretz Israel, there's prayer is never done because of excess rain, because Eretz Israel, for anyone who's been there knows this, is a mountainous land, and the houses were built back in the day from stone, and excess rain is always good for the land, and we never do ta'anit to cease a benefit or a favor from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. הלכה ט"ז, תבואה שצמחה ונמנע המטר והתחילו צמחין לבש. If there was grain that has sprouted and rain did not fall yet, and the grain has begun to dry up, הרי אלו מתענין וזועקין עד שירדו גשמים או עד שיבשו הצמחים. The people of that area in which the grain has sprouted and rain hasn't fallen yet do ta'anit and pray until the rain comes, or until the grain totally dries up. And Rabbi Nahum Rabinovich, in his Perushat Pichuta, explains the reason for this, explains the reason why we pray up until the grain completely dries up. Because from this point onwards, rain does not help the produce, and we do not beseech and pray for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make miracles that are against the laws of nature and against the laws of agriculture. So if the grain totally dried up, any rain that would fall would damage the grain, and we do not beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu for things that are extremely, extremely improbable and almost impossible to happen, and they're not the natural way of things. And this is an important point for us, how to look at the world. We should view the world and view our situations in terms of probability, and not ask God for the extremely, extremely, rather we should not expect the extremely, extremely improbable. And obviously this isn't to say that if we have a sick relative or something of the sort, we should not pray. Rather, Rabbi Nahum Rabinovich is mentioning, and I'm explaining, that anything that is totally contrary to the laws of nature and to the laws of agriculture should not be asked for from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. וכן אם הגיע זמן הפסח או קרוב לו בארץ ישראל שהוא זמן פריחת האילנות שם ולא ירדו גשמים, הרי אלו מתענין וזועקין עד שירדו גשמים הראויים לאילנות או עד שיעבור זמנם. So too, if the time of Pesach or the season of Aviv has arrived in Eretz Israel, which is the time for the blossoming of the trees, and rain has not fallen yet, the people of that area, the people of Eretz Israel do ta'anit and cry out until the rain needed for the trees has fallen, or until the blooming season has passed. הלכה י"ז, וכן אם הגיע זמן הסוכות ולא ירדו גשמים הרבה כדי למלות מהן הבורות והשיחין והמערות. So too, if Hag Sukkot has arrived and rain hasn't fallen significantly enough that the cisterns, ditches, and storage cave have not yet been filled with rain, הרי אלו מתענין עד שירד הגשם הראוי לבורות. Ta'anit is done until enough rain has fallen to fill the cisterns. However, if there is a shortage of drinking water, מתענין על הגשמים בכל עת שלא יהיה להם מים לשתות, אפילו בימות החמה. Ta'anit is done because of the shortage of drinking water, as long as there is this shortage, even if the shortage is during the summer, when it is not as likely to rain as in the other seasons. הלכה י"ח פסקו הגשמים בין גשם לגשם 40 יום בימות הגשמים, הרי זו מכת בצורת, ומתענין וזועקין עד שירדו הגשמים או עד שיעבור זמנם. If during the rainy season there are 40 days that elapse between rainfalls, this is considered a drought. Ta'anit is done, and we pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu until the rain falls or until the rainy season has passed. As Hashem, tomorrow we'll study the third chapter of Hilchot Ta'aniyot, which actually deals with fasting because of rainfall.